If you want to come into this country illegally, there's no better place to settle than where the bougie left go to bougie. But that's inhumane, according to those same people. Meanwhile, Joe Biden finally says about COVID what we have known for quite some time. Let me explain. Good day. Well, you have probably been distracted for the past week by the pomp and circumstance that goes into the mourning and funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. You've been nonstop eating jammy Dodgers and salting your tea with your teardrops. But back here in the good old US of A, we have some things that, per usual, are being swept under the rug or just outright spun up by the media. And it's happening at the southern border, but Joe Biden doesn't want to talk about it.
Some people ask whether you are fit for the job. And when you hear that, I wonder what you think.
Watch me. I mean, honest to God, that's all I think. Watch me. If you think I don't have the energy level or the mental acuity, then you know, that's one thing. It's another thing of just watch and you know, keep my schedule. Do what I'm doing.
Do what you're doing.
I think that, you know, I don't, when I sit down with our NATO allies and keep them together, I don't have them saying, wait a minute, how old are you? What did they say? You know, I mean, it's a matter of, you know, that old expression, the proof of the pudding's in the eating.
This tastes like I want my money back, Joe. And we are watching, Joe, and we see that you are not doing sit-down interviews to answer tough questions because they in the media won't give you tough questions anyway. But I digress. What you saw there was just a snippet of Joe's first sit-down interview in 7 months. He's been busy doing a whole lot of not leading, but then praising himself by having James Taylor over to the White House to sing Fire and Rain. That's what he's doing.
I have seen fire and I've seen rain.
And that's exactly what is happening. Fire and rain. Let's segue and get to today's question. Which lie from the Biden 60 Minutes interview is most offensive? There are a few, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please share the video so everyone can listen to the madness. Now, just so we're clear, the song Fire and Rain is about suicide, and that's appropriate since Taylor was at the White House so Biden could celebrate the Inflation Reduction Act, which reduces no inflation, and fun fact, the Dow plummeted more than 1,200 points. Yay!
Well, first of all, let's put this in perspective. Inflation rate month to month was just an inch. Hardly at all.
You're not arguing that 8.3 is good news.
No, I'm not saying it is good news, but it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not, maybe I can make it sound like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%. It's
the highest inflation rate, Mr. President, in 40 years.
I got that, but guess what we are? We're in a position where for the last several months, it hasn't spiked. It has just barely, it's been basically even.
Yeah, you guys, it's been evenly bad for months now. Duh, so get off his back. He's got Matlock to watch. I mean, he has all this time now that, you know, the thing is over.
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing, and I think this is a perfect example of it.
Oh, it is over, is it? Glad to hear it. Then let's implement what one of the most common sense politicians in Congress says. Representative Thomas Massie, take it away.
Look, we've been living under a form of martial law for about 2.5 years now. All of the powers that the president has claimed to himself that emanated or were predicated on the COVID virus, those need to go away today. When I saw him say that yesterday, I suggested that the public health emergency should go away, that all the governors that have these executive powers, that should go away. The vaccine mandates need to go away if the pandemic is over. And finally, one of the most onerous things, the PrEP Act. This basically is what I call medical malpractice martial law. It supersedes all state law, all federal law, and it says unless somebody with intent kills you, with one of their PCR tests or with a treatment or with a vaccine, you have no legal recourse unless they meant to hurt you. It's ridiculous, and this needs to go away. We've even seen hundreds of billions of dollars of student loans. Joe Biden claims he has the power to just reassign that debt to taxpayers because of COVID. Well, if he thinks the pandemic's over, then take away all those powers, repeal them, end it now.
Yep. That right there. In more than words, the good news is we have at least a few leaders out there, leading. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is basically giving Biden's comrades a taste of their own medicine, and, as expected, they are losing their ever-loving minds. As you are all well aware, Biden has opened the border wider than the gap found between the ears of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And some state governors, like DeSantis and Greg Abbott of Texas, have had enough. And so they have begun shipping the illegal immigrants to the sanctuary areas of the country, who on paper claim that you must welcome all of these people into your communities and provide them resources. On cue, AOC cried foul, tweeting out to her adoring fans, "It's appalling that far-right politicians seem to have decided that fall before an election is their regularly scheduled time to commit crimes against humanity on refugees. Don't normalize this. Lying to and trafficking people for TV and clicks isn't politics as usual. It's abuse." Is it a political stunt? You bet your bottom dollar. But at least it's a better stunt than just crying to an empty parking lot. Oh, did you forget about when AOC did that? What a stunt that was. Single tear. You see, unlike AOC's stunt, the governor's political stunt alleviates the burden of what the small towns and villages on the southern border have been feeling for the past, few years. But no. It's so inhumane for them to get onto air-conditioned buses with bathrooms or airplanes, especially since many of those airplanes no longer give away the free peanuts. How dare they? So inhumane for the states to be sending the illegal immigrants to, of all places, Martha's Vineyard. What an awful place. That land is only good for celebrities and politicians. But I repeat myself, how could DeSantis send them there?
If you have folks that are inclined to think Florida is a good place, our message to them is we are not a sanctuary state, and it's better to be able to go to a sanctuary jurisdiction. And yes, we will help facilitate that transport for you to be able to go to greener pastures.
Again, it is so inhumane to have these migrants who have traveled through several countries, often by use of human smugglers called coyotes, who charge them thousands of dollars and leave them for dead in giant semis. It's inhumane to put those same migrants on air-conditioned planes and go to Martha's Vineyard.
When you got off the plane, I asked him, "What did you think of this place?" "Beautiful, gorgeous," he says. "The people are very friendly."
How awful! But listen to the representative from Massachusetts and how he feels about having these migrants come to his sanctuary state, truly revealing that do as I say, not as I do.
There's no low that these people will go. They'll keep going lower and lower, and they're willing to use humans, children, women, families, as political pawns for their own game. It is depraved, it is evil, it is wrong. But what makes America great is what we see here today, which is an island community and a state in Massachusetts is coming together to support the people here.
Depraved. Evil. Wrong. If Martha's Vineyard is that bad, I guess all those celebrities better leave now. Since we're talking celebrity, that brings us to... Where in the world is Kamala Ding Dong? Now, Ding Dong was recently seen on Meet the Press saying that the border is secure.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
What a gem. And then the immigrants went to her neck of the woods, just outside the Naval Observatory, and suddenly she's mom.
Vice President Harris, any comment on the migrants that were dropped off at the Naval Observatory?
So, no thoughts then? I thought it was nice that the border was brought to her, since she's the border czar and still hasn't been able to find the border. She's too busy thinking about what she'll actually say for her next meal of word salad.
So we invested an additional $12 billion into community banks, because we know community banks are in the community and understand the needs and desires of that community, as well as the talent and capacity of community.
Word of the day, community. With that word salad, I do wonder if she prefers ranch or Thousand Island. I know Karine Jean-Pierre prefers French for her own word salads, which defend her gal pal Kamala in saying the border is secure.
We are doing everything that we can to make sure that that we follow the process that's been put forth. That's why we have historic funding to do just that, to make sure that the folks that we encounter at the border be removed or expelled.
Is the border secure?
I'm just going to refer back to the Vice President. We agree with her. She is saying that there's a lot of work to do, right? She also said that in that very statement. We agree that the border is secure, but there is still more work to be done.
They should have just sent Joe down to the border. He could have been some use to help alleviate the crisis.
Anybody want to go to Washington? Jump in.
Absolutely no one wants to go to the cesspool known as Washington, D.C. Joe and the rest of the gang live there, so no thank you. Even Joe doesn't know if he's going to stick around, mostly because he's cognitively incapable of knowing what is happening for a majority of the time.
Sir, are you committed to running again, or are there certain conditions that have to be right?
Translation, are you going to be alive and competent a year from now?
Look, if I were to say to you, I'm running again, all of a sudden a whole range of things come into play that I have requirements I have to change and move and do.
In terms of election laws?
In terms of election laws. And it's much too early to make that kind of decision. I'm a great respecter of fate.
That's not what you said at Christmas.
Do you plan to run for re-election?
Yes. But look, I'm a great respecter of fate. Fate has intervened in my life many, many times. If I'm in the health I'm in now, if I'm in good health, then in fact, I would run again.
Oh, it's fate again. It's just that all of our fates are in his hands, and that should scare you. But based on that answer, compared to, your answer now, you are not in good health, sir. Thanks for verifying.
You say that it's much too early to make that decision. I take it the decision has not been made in your own head.
Look, my intention, as I said to begin with, is that I would run again. But it's just an intention. But is it a firm decision that I'd run again? That remains to be seen.
Wow. That's the president right there. Just another day in paradise, if you live on Martha's Vineyard. Anywho, we have but a month and a half before the midterms, so try to keep calm and carry on, like the Queen would want you to do. Make sure you tend to your F's, faith, family, and friends. And then please share the video. Until next time, stay healthy, America.